views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Good morning. PLP Chairman Fred Mitchell says the FNM would fire civil servants if elected, but FNM Chairman Dwight Sands says that's not true. Calls for more transparency on the SpaceX booster landings before the program resumes. And we are talking about Grand Bahama with the leader of the FNM, what their plans are for the way forward for the island. It's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. Don't you know that
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Monday, January 19th, 2026. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, Deandra Cartwright will be joining us. That's all ahead. But first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while we're sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight, as parties continue their preparations for the upcoming general election, PLP Chairman Fred Mitchell telling voters yesterday that the FNM, if elected, would lay off public servants and conduct revenge prosecutions. Claims that FNM Chairman Dr. Dwight Sands labeled as, quote, plain and simple rubbish. Mitchell saying he had given a similar warning ahead of the 2017 election, which ushered in the Hubert Minnis-led FNM into office, but it fell on deaf ears. He said in a recent voice note recording, quote, the PLP's candidates committee met on Thursday and we are pretty close to final recommendations to the NGC. It is clear that we are headed toward a general election. This causes me to reflect on the role of the public service. They are the gatekeepers, the protectors of the integrity of the system. I reflected on it because we face in the alternative a political group that has demonstrated a desire for vengeance. No one understood until 2,500 people were laid off by the FNM within months of their coming to office. Well, a labor force survey from the Department of Statistics for the end of 2017 found that jobs in government and government corporations decreased by 2,555 jobs. However, Brent Zarolo, who was Minister of the Public Service at the time, claimed that the numbers were inaccurate and that fewer than 400 people were laid off. Meanwhile, Sands yesterday saying that civil servants have no reason to fear layoffs from an FNM government, though he said the public service should not be bloated and used as an emergency agency. FNM Deputy Leader Shannon Cartwright is calling for more transparency from the government on all environmental considerations related to the SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket booster landings before any resumption of the program. He says they're calling on the government to be more transparent, including the tabling in Parliament of an appropriate and adequate environmental impact assessment of the Falcon rocket booster landings program. Early last year, the government paused all landings in Bahamian waters just weeks after they began. citing environmental concerns and public outrage after a SpaceX Starship exploded shortly after its launch in Texas and rained debris over the Bahamas. Pilot Donald Ferguson Jr. has filed a motion seeking the dismissal of his, quote, fabricated murder case. The 27-year-old has pleaded not guilty to allegations that he gunned down Jeffrey Giovanni Roll at Jet Nassau on June 16, 2024. He's expected to stand trial in 2027. According to documents obtained by the NASA Guardian, Ferguson, who is representing himself, filed a motion to have the case thrown out due to a, quote, lack of evidence and reasonable suspicion, prosecutorial misconduct, inclusive of witness intimidation, and contraventions to his basic fundamental rights. Police arrested Ferguson about 20 minutes after the shooting while he was at the domestic terminal lounge of Lynden Pindling International Airport, and he was released without charge 4 days later. However, following a campaign by Roll's family, police rearrested Ferguson on January 18, 2025, and charged him with murder. Ferguson contends that a $50,000 reward by Roll's family resulted in his arrest and charged without any further investigation. He remains on remand at the Department of Correctional Services and maintains his innocence. Ferguson argues that the prosecution should not be allowed to rely on purported dying declarations made by the deceased. After he was shot, he said the statements should be deemed inadmissible as hearsay, since there's no evidence that shows that it was impossible for him to commit. There is other evidence that shows that it was impossible for him to commit the crime. And prosecutors say a 30-year-old man gunned down a mechanic outside his Adelaide Village home. Dario Wilson appeared before Acting Assistant Chief Magistrate Shaka Serville on Friday, charged with the January 11th murder of Ricardo Jean. According to police, Jean was talking to another man when he was ambushed by a gunman. Wilson was not required to enter a plea to the murder charge and was remanded to prison as the magistrate lacks the authority to consider bail for the offense. The matter was adjourned to May 7th for the presentation of a voluntary bill of indictment that will fast-track the case to the Supreme Court. Overseas, Spanish police saying today that at least 39 people are confirmed dead in a high-speed train collision that happened Sunday night in the south of the country. Efforts to recover the bodies are continuing, and the death toll is likely to rise. Some bodies were found hundreds of meters from the crash site. The crash occurred Sunday at around 7:45 p.m. when the tail end of a train carrying 289 passengers en route from Malaga to the capital, Madrid, went off the rails. It slammed into an incoming train traveling from Madrid to another southern Spanish city. The head of the second train, which was carrying nearly 200 passengers, took the brunt of the impact. That collision knocked the first two carriages off the track and sent them plummeting down a 4-meter or 13-foot slope. Authorities say that it appeared the largest number of the deaths occurred in those carriages. Authorities say all the survivors had been rescued in the early morning, while work remained to recover and identify the dead. And Guatemala President Bernardo Arevalo declaring a 30-day state of siege after suspected gang members in Guatemala's capital killed 7 police officers in an apparent retaliation for authorities in the country's southwest retaking control of one of 3 maximum security prisons where inmates had rioted and taken hostages the day before. The attacks on police in and around Guatemala City coming after hundreds of anti-riot police stormed a prison about 47 miles southwest of the capital. They were trying to free 9 guards who had been taken hostage there. Jailed gang leaders often order members outside the prison walls to carry out retaliatory attacks. The president says that all the hostage guards were freed Sunday, The gang's audacious attempt to challenge authorities was a sign that his administration's security efforts were working, according to the president. And British Prime Minister Keir Starmer is saying today that U.S. President Donald Trump's threat of tariffs against allies over Greenland is completely wrong and a trade war is in no one's interest. Trump said Saturday that he would charge a 10% import tax starting in February on goods from 8 European nations, including the UK, because of their opposition to American control of Greenland, setting a potentially dangerous test of U.S. partnerships in Europe. Greenland is a semi-autonomous territory of NATO ally Denmark. The U.S. president indicated the tariffs were a retaliation for last week's deployment of symbolic numbers of troops from European countries to Greenland, which he has said was essential for the Golden Dome missile defense system for the U.S. He's also argued that Russia and China might try to take over the island. Starmer said Britain supports the fundamental right of Greenland and Denmark to decide the future of the Arctic island. Starmer, who's worked to forge a strong relationship with Trump, said the UK-US relationship was vital and that they were determined to keep that relationship strong, constructive, and focused on results. But he said that doesn't mean pretending differences don't exist. In sports, collegiate athletes turning in strong performances in the U.S. over the weekend. Antoine Andrews is entering elite company worldwide. The Bahamian national record holder in the sprint hurdles outdoors tied the national mark in the sprint hurdles indoors over the weekend, running a personal best time of 7.49 seconds in the men's 60 meters hurdles at the Texas Tech Corky Classic in Lubbock, Texas. Texas Tech University Red Raider senior was in the class by himself, winning in what was a new world-leading time. Since then, though, Polish athlete ran a new world-leading time of 7.48 seconds, but Andrews is still listed as number 2 in the world this year so far. His time is number 1 time in the NCAA this season, and he goes down as number 2 in Texas Tech history, only behind his current teammate, Malachi Snow, who holds a school record of 7.46 seconds. There's a whole lot more on how Bahamian athletes are doing in today's Guardian Sports section. While collegians making their mark overseas in competition, local track and field athletes were running impressive times as well, turning in strong performances at the DTSP World Wolfpack Doyle Burrows Track and Field Classic over the weekend at the Thomas A. Robinson Track and Field Stadium. The one-day event Saturday, which was the second club meet of the season, honored sports icon Alexander Doyle Burrows. The meet provided more athletes with the opportunity to qualify for the 2026 Carifta Games, slated for April 4th through 6th in St. George's, Grenada. Details on how they did in today's Guardian Sports section. And Bahamian Major League Baseball player Jazrato Jazz Chisholm Jr. has officially committed to joining Great Britain's roster for the upcoming 2026 World Baseball Classic. This will be Chisholm's second time suiting up for Great Britain following his first international appearance with the team at the 2017 WBC qualifiers, which were hosted in 2016. The Bahamian baseball star is eligible to play for Great Britain because the Bahamas was under British rule prior to July 10th, 1973. A wild weekend for the NFL. The LA Rams shaking off a wild late touchdown pass by Caleb Williams, beating the Chicago Bears in Chicago 20-17 in overtime to reach the NFC. And so the championship Sunday is set. The Rams are going to face the Seattle Seahawks. and the New England Patriots will face the Denver Broncos. It's an NFC West showdown between the Rams at 14-5 and Seattle at 15-3. And the AFC matchup is a rematch from 10 years ago when Tom Brady lost to Peyton Manning. This time, Denver at 15-3 has to turn to backup quarterback Jarrett Stidham because Bo Nix broke his ankle, while New England at 16-3 has second sensation Drake May. At sports, and that's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. Your first look at weather brought to you by Strachan. A relatively active cold front is drifting now into the central Bahamas. That's going to continue progressing southward, producing periods of showers and a few thunderstorms as cooler temperatures filter into the northern islands throughout the day today. That front's expected to stall near Long Island later tonight, with winds gradually strengthening behind it. For today, look for moderate to high risk of rip currents for all waters in the northern and northwest Bahamas, as well as all Atlantic waters. Beachgoers and swimmers along Atlantic beaches in the northern and northwestern islands should remain onshore and should exercise caution elsewhere. Your forecast for today for the extreme northern islands, including Grand Bahama, look for mostly cloudy conditions, turning partly cloudy tonight, a 10 to 20% chance of showers. Winds north-northwest to northeast, 15 to 20 knots. For the rest of the northwest Bahamas, including New Providence, cloudy to overcast today, a 10 to 30% chance of showers. Winds north to northeast at 15 to 20 knots, increasing to 20 to 25 knots with higher gusts by this evening. For the central islands, cloudy to overcast today as that front moves through, a 20 to 40% chance of showers with possible thunderstorms. Winds variable at 10 knots or less ahead of and along the frontal boundary, shifting north to northeast at 15 to 20 knots behind the front. Expect winds to increase behind the front by late tonight. And for the southeastern islands today, partly sunny to sunny, turning mostly fair tonight, a 10 to 20% chance of showers. Winds east-southeast to south-southeast at 15 knots. Temperatures today, we're looking at highs in the upper 70s for the extreme northern islands, around 25 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to the mid-60s, around 18, 19 Celsius. For the rest of us, that was for the northwestern islands and the extreme northern islands. We'll see temperatures like that, even a bit lower for the lows tonight in the extreme northern islands. For the central and southeast Bahamas, a bit warmer, highs around 82, 83 Fahrenheit, 28, 29 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to the low to mid-70s, around 23, 24 Celsius. That's your first look at weather this morning. We'll have your extended outlook coming up in just a bit. This is check brought to you by Star General Insurance, made simple.
Wake up, it's a new day.
You are listening to Morning Blend. When we come back, we're discussing the day's top stories right here on Guardian Radio, your home for fresh news and smart talk all day.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
Looking to elevate your gadget game or a tech trouble simply slowing you down? Escape to a world of innovation at Custom Computers, your go-to store for the latest cutting-edge tech. Whether you need to upgrade your life with the best from Apple and Windows or your device needs a little TLC, the Custom Computers Know-How Store is the destination for unbeatable expertise and quality repairs. With 2 convenient locations, there's a Custom Computers near you on Patton Street in Palmdale and Caves Village, or call 396-1100.
Planning for retirement can be overwhelming, but with CFAL, it doesn't have to be. We offer tailor-made individual, group, and pension solutions that take the guesswork out of retirement planning. Whether it's for you or your company, don't leave your future to chance and let the trusted hands of CFAL's experts guide you toward peace of mind and financial stability. Low upfront costs and affordable monthly payments make it easy for you to build wealth so you can live well. Visit us at cfal.com to start on your path toward financial freedom. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and car body fasteners, too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
Cabin crew, prepare for takeoff.
The world needs pilots now. Airlines everywhere are hiring, and your opportunity is ready for takeoff. At the Sagicor Cahill School of Business and Management, the UE Cahill campus, you can earn a bachelor's or master's degree, plus a commercial pilot license in one powerful, globally aligned program. Train in the Caribbean's most advanced aviation ground school, then soar with CAE, one of the world's top flight training academies. 2 qualifications, 1 world-class aviation career. Your future. Visit cavehill.uwi.edu/schsbm. Apply now and let your career take flight.
No one likes a fender bender.
Oh, man.
From a little scratch to a full NUA Insurance has got you covered with auto insurance tailored to fit your needs and budget. For affordable rates with free on-site accident assistance, visit us online or in branch and just ask us. NUA Insurance. Ask us because we've got you covered.
Mom, the Christmas cookies are ready. Leave them right here under the tree for...
For Santa or for CIBC Caribbean?
'Tis the season for dreams to come true. Whether it's a house, land, vehicle, or upgrading your home, CIB Caribbean can support your dreams with the financing you need. Enjoy incredible cashback deals with mortgages and land loans. Plus, your approved loan gives you a chance to win up to US $5,000. Apply now at www.cibccaribbean.com/sweeten the season. Terms and conditions apply.
Wendy's has brand new chicken tenders, and they're everything you've been craving. Crispy, juicy, and seasoned just right. These tenders bring flavor from the very first bite. Dip them, dunk them, love them. With sauces like sweet chili, scorching hot, ranch, honey barbecue, honey mustard, and Wendy's sauce. Grab them as a kid's meal. Enjoy them on their own, or make it a combo that hits the spot every time. For tenders you're gonna know by name, it's gotta be Wendy's.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. Don't you know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
We're back with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. We're streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. Text us 422-4796. Standard text rate supply. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Joining me now, Deandra Cartwright. Deandra Cartwright, good morning.
Good morning, Dwight Strachan. How are you?
Doing well. Great to have you with us as always. We got a lot to talk about on this Monday morning. Coming up, we're going to be talking about Grand Bahama. We've been promising to have this conversation for quite a while with Michael Pintar, the F&M leader, about the island. He represents a constituency on the island. I was just going to
say, you got to say that part, Dwight. You got to say that part.
Yeah, so every time we're here, we have a little bit of a talk about Grand Bahama, but we've been saying we're going to have an in-depth discussion, and that is going to happen today.
I'm happy that that's happening because we literally keep on having conversations about Grand Bahama every other week.
Yeah, absolutely. And the FM's been promising to have more to say about Grand Bahama as well.
Well, let's see if they come through with the promises to have more to say.
Yeah. Oh boy. Okay, so that's coming up in just a few. But right now, let's get into what else is in the news. And in the news, the big headline in the National Guardian, $11 monthly VAT savings. Tax could put $127 in household pocket annually. Let's read this story. Arcandia Dame's writing about it today. The average Bahamian household could save $11 per month when the Davis administration eliminates value-added tax on uncooked foods sold in grocery stores as of April 1st. Prime Minister Philip Davis announced the VAT cut in a national address a week ago, calling it a significant step and one that was hoped will really help, along with efforts to reduce costs through energy reform and the addition of new trading partners and more homegrown food. On Thursday, Minister of Economic Affairs Michael Halkita said the VAT cut from the current 5% rate to zero will amount to a revenue loss to the government of $1 million for the year. $15 million, which will be offset by economic growth.
Okay, I'll wait.
Yeah?
Okay. Economic growth is not guaranteed.
Right.
Sorry,
I we're bringing in some economic growth.
We
got it on. It's on its way. It's being shipped here right now.
No, but I mean,
when it comes, that'll solve it.
But so many other things are reliant on economic growth.
Oh, man.
Can we quantify and guarantee economic growth? I mean,
yeah, let's read more.
Please,
and then we'll get back. Okay. The preliminary 2022 census results indicated 118,221 households in the Bahamas. When that 15 million is split among those households, that shows a savings of around $127 annually or $11 per month as a result of the VAT cut. Huh? How? What? Well, I don't know if it.
Okay,
is that how it works?
No, I'm not particularly sure. But from what I see, is that it's split across all of the projected number of households according to the census. And then if you go to look at the average income of those, then it's saying that the average family makes $44,000 a year, and then you have a number that make less than $20,000.
Okay.
I feel like when we have these types of conversations, $127 looks different to the household making less than $20,000.
And won't it depend on what you buy and what you don't buy and all that
Exactly.
stuff and how much of it you buy? And
Right.
Okay.
So it's a number of factors at play there, because again, $127 to one person is pocket change, but to another one, that's their grocery bill.
Well, the Prime Minister said the VAT cut, among other actions being taken by his administration, quote, will help more Bahamian families build wealth. But the average household is likely to find the savings from the VAT elimination on food negligible. Well, with high prices in grocery stores, it appears few, if any, will feel the impact of the move, because $11 a month. A single mother would use it to go towards purchase of a 16-pack of Pampers diapers, but those are currently priced at $20.89. So she'd still need to find another $10 to purchase that one pack. Or she could use it to purchase a bottle of lotion priced at $10.99. Wow. It could go, well, that's one brand there. It could go towards reducing the cost of a 12.4-ounce can of baby cereal, but it won't be enough to fully cover that of the cereal. Well, there you go now. And there are other things that you're showing that won't save you too much. That $11 could get mom an additional dozen eggs, priced right now at $2.19, or 2 dozen eggs if she opts for the premium ones, about $4.99. Or she could buy roughly 2.5 loaves of special blend white bread, priced at $4.20. 2.5 loaves. Anyway, so it's going down the list, and it's showing you that the $11 in savings. Well, better than nothing, I guess. Right?
Well, it's some ease for 1 week.
Sure.
Or one shopping trip.
One day.
Or one item.
And it's going through all of these things and showing you how, Wow. So the article continues, perhaps unaware of the specific savings from the VAT cut, one seemingly frustrated grandmother shopping at a local grocery store yesterday remarked as she pushed her cart out, quote, I cannot wait for April 1st. Well, boy. She lamented that the prices in the store are just alarmingly high. Household incomes in the Bahamas are in many cases not enough for people to comfortably meet their basic needs. A quick analysis of data from the Bahamas Census 2022 reveals an average household income of approximately $44,000 per year, and more than 31,000 Bahamian households making $20,000 or less. A $20,000 annual household earnings translates into just under $400 per week. One observer on the weekend used another calculation that could have some households seeing more savings from the VAT cut. A household that earns $45,000 a year and spends 10 to 15% of that on food, or about $6,570 annually, would see a VAT savings of $27 a month. Many households find that spending under $150 weekly on groceries is unrealistic, though. A University of the Bahamas study released in 2024 found that a middle-class family of 4 in your province needs a monthly income of $10,200 to have a decent life, or $10,100 a month if living in Grand Bahama. The government has acknowledged the affordability dilemma is at a crisis level. On Monday night, the Office of the Prime Minister said addressing affordability remains a top priority of the Davis administration, and that the government will continue to act where it can to put money back in people's pockets. OPM said the VAT cut on food will reduce the tax burden on everyday grocery items and provide direct relief at checkout for families across the country. The F&M, meanwhile, has called the government's decision, quote, April Fool's economics,
What a sick.
saying what was presented as reassurance amounted instead to smoke and mirrors, a package of shameless campaign cuts designed to distract a frustrated and increasingly impatient nation rather than confront the real cost of living pressures Bahamians face every single day. That was from F&M leader Michael Pintard following the Prime Minister's national address last week.
Powerful.
Wow. Okay. Let's get your reaction to all of that, folks. We talked a bit about this a little bit last week, that many people will not likely notice the difference, especially with prices rising due to global factors, globally, lots of things happening, shortages and costs just going up, and more tariffs and more threats of tariffs. And boy, so will you notice it at all?
again, it'll be a little something, but truly, no.
Let's hear from you folks. Give us a call. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Call us toll free. 242-300-5720. Tweet us. Text us 422-4796. Standard text rates apply.
I feel like if I could, just to go back on the number of households according to the census, that how much they're making. So from the article, a quick analysis of data from the Bahama census of 2022 reveals an average household income of approximately $44,000 per year, with more than 31,000 Bahamian households making less, $20,000 or less. And that would translate to about $400 a week. So you can imagine if you have kids, the burden. A friend of mine, we were just having this conversation. It was recent as last week. If it's difficult for single persons to exist, how are persons with children making this happen? The grocery bills, and you need food to survive, even when you're cutting back. My goodness. I feel like, ladies and gentlemen, I just want somebody to call me. Tell me what your average bill is inside at the food store, because I
think even tell us what you are not able to buy anymore that you used to be able to buy.
Yeah,
I think
part.
that would be very interesting. A lot of people are having to put back things they love, things that are good for them, because they can't afford.
The lady at the butcher's window on Sunday when I was in the food store, the price of chicken gone up. I think it was chicken that she was getting, right? And she had to put back a couple pounds of it because she couldn't afford as much as she used to.
Yeah.
And I was like, my Lord, people cannot afford what they're used to. And this is a reality. And it has been a reality across administrations. I mean, let's just get this clear. But at the same time, when we're looking to ease the burden on our people, are there other ways of doing this? Arguably, there are. I don't know.
Well, let's read some of your text messages. This person says here, quite a few text messages coming in. This person says, Prime Minister Davis removed the VAT that he put on bread basket items that were previously VAT-free, but he's not worried about revenue loss because if the PLP wins the election, Prime Minister Davis most likely will put the VAT back and at an increased rate, I suspect, more than making up for any loss. Well, I think I saw an article last week where Halkita says that once they do this, that'll be like that. That's how it is going to be.
I'm curious to see what the IMF has to say, because we keep going against their advice, but we keep borrowing money. I find that very curious, incredibly.
This person says here, economic growth, my pig toe. I think you meant big. Big? Yeah? These guys are total clowns, as a text. They'll say anything to gaslight us, and if they are reelected, they will simply put it back on in another form. Put that $50 million back on in another form. Okay.
Listen, it's been going up and down, again, across administrations. It is what it is.
This person says, Dwight, stop it. That $11 savings can buy you a big nothing burger. Whoa. Okay.
I mean, a nothing burger could taste good. It's just like an air pie, right?
This person says here, this is about Mitchell's comments. The world knows what Fred Mitchell is saying is utter rubbish because the PLP has hired many people for votes prior to election for votes, and I'm a PLP supporter saying this. Well, so you say. But fair play is fair play. Tell Mitchell, be sure and dig the next hole. Many Bahamians are suffering from this tax-burdening PLP.
Well, I'd be curious as if we can, because whatever happened to that, weren't we supposed to get some sort of numbers about the amount of consultants that have been hired, the amount of retirees re-engaged, the amount of additional jobs created?
You're supposed to, or that's what you wanted to get?
I could have swore that they were supposed to make a public list of all of the consultants engaged with government. I could have,
that might have been a dream.
You know what, Dwight, I promised this to me and you so that I could try to. When the election happens, everything that is uttered, I want to start keeping a list. Everything that's uttered, to see if they follow through. Because some of these things I'm pretty sure it was just like when we were supposed to see about travel trips, to see how much is being spent, and then we didn't hear anything. No,
I mean, you can, if you have the energy and the time, you can go through the budget and see a bunch of things.
The budget is a hypothetical document that's.
It's there, but it'll give you a headache. But you can find it. You can find it if you have the time.
I got a headache even thinking about
Take
that.
you almost.
My point is that how many persons have been engaged on top of the 20,000 plus, during this administration?
This texter says here the PLP is drowning and grasping for straws by praising its leadership. Why didn't they have all this energy in discussing many issues that are still unresolved? Many questions are unanswered because the administration simply refused to answer. Okay. This person says that if they were serious, they would have removed VAT and customs duties from these goods. Some of them don't have duties. Some of them, right? It's getting confusing for if you are a store owner.
Listen, I'm
some
so
things
sorry
don't
for
have
the people
duty.
who own the stores, trying to deal with this up and down.
Some have
and then
that.
also they're counting people. Oh my gosh!
Can you imagine right now?
No. When I saw that, I was like, I am so sorry for all of my accounting friends who have to
some
deal with
items
this.
with 10%, some items with 5%. Are there currently zero rated? There might be, but there's a whole lot of different things going on.
I mean, Dwight, did you see a couple of the groups that I'm in? I saw a person circulating, and even on Facebook, they were circulating. And this is before the recent announcement. Copies of receipts to say, y'all check y'all receipts because they charging 2 different types of VAT, man. They thieving. I'm like, because there's 2 different rates. Yeah. So now this is
there's a lot of
another
ignorance,
one.
a lot of ignorance out there.
Right.
But it's confusion created by so many changes and so frequently, right?
Yeah, that part.
Let's take these calls. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
That's to talk about customs duty. You need to take customs duty of all foods. And the sum you get VAT free on all foods. But what the customs duties of all foods? That ought to do a thing. And the thing about what's going on around the world, man, the cost of living and groceries, it was always high in the Bahamas, man, because of the customs duties. So what's going on around the world? It ain't all about that. You see, so
yeah, the combination is making it even more challenging, right?
Yeah, like I said before, and then what happened to cooked food? You understand me? Cooked food. People, that's lunch. Cooked food is lunch. Ain't nobody taking lunch. But you buying cooked food. On Sundays they buying cooked food. You get people going to church buying cooked food. Cooking ain't a thing no more in the Bahamas.
I know about you, but I gotta save money, so I gotta cook.
But you take lunch?
Listen, you gotta live economically these days. The cost of a cooked meal by somebody else is more than what it would be for me to produce that.
For poor man to cook, you need refrigeration and you need gas.
Well, this is also true. This is also true.
So all of them things. You see, and then you need to take the bottom of the gas. I mean, of the fuel and stuff, some type of things.
And you know how many taxes you have on gas as well?
And then, and people don't like for me to say, we need some work in here and get some balanced debates, in the media about, you see what I'm saying? We asking for the politicians to debate, but there's no debate in the media.
I don't know what that means. What does that mean? What do you mean by that?
I mean, like how you two on the show, right?
Uh-huh.
One you should be debating whether you agree or not, should be debating the opposite when it comes to taxation.
Yeah, sometimes that is the case. So we don't always agree on everything. But thank you for the call. Okay, let's take another call. Good morning. You're on the air. Hi. Good morning. You there? Are you there? Let's take the other line. Good morning, caller. You're live on the air.
Good morning, Cousin Dwight, and good morning, Madam Deandra.
Hi. Good morning.
Morning, Grammy boy here. I'm Dwight.
Hi.
Bahamian people got to be tired, man. Like, come on, man. I got to sing this praise this year. We got to be tired of this merry-go-round, man. Now, I ain't gonna lie, right? These people playing such a game with the Bahamian people for 50-plus years. I went to Super Value a couple of weeks ago, right? Pick up 3 items. $150. So
That
me
was
and my
cool,
friend
eh?
Empress been there Saturday. Pick up the same 3 items that we normally get, right? $83. I couldn't believe it, right? I say, man, hold on. Stop popping it, man.
3 items?
Huh?
You said 3?
3 items that I normally go for every now once a month. But it was $150 something last couple of weeks, and then I went there Saturday, and it was $83. I couldn't believe it, right? So these fellas are continuously playing games with the Bahamian people. After all of these years, we ain't realized yet we can't continue to do the same thing over and over again, expecting different results.
You said
Now,
you
Dwight,
get these
know
where?
because
Where
of
at the?
anger.
Where you get these
Huh?
from? The supermarket or somewhere else? Where did you say?
That value place.
Well, I mean, I'm very curious. What could 3 items? What 3 items could cost $80 to $150? What?
That depends on what you get, right? Why are you trying to get Grammy Boy to put
I
on
just can't understand it. I just.
You trying to get Grammy Boy to put on your 3 items. Let's say 3 items.
Wow. Okay.
The bottom line is, Dwight, one time it was costing $150, and this time it was costing $83.
Well, at least you saved some money. Okay.
Now, Dwight, we'll talk now. You know I can put it on you. I ain't gonna do no big bomb on you, right? But I can put it on you. Dwight, aren't you tired of interviewing? Like one text say, these same clowns and rejects from the Gong Show, man. We got other people out there. Right, we got to get out of this forest, you know. It start interviewing some independents, some this one, some that one, some Aaron Green and DeAndre Cartwright, man. We tired of these clowns every time we come on the show.
You want me to interview Guardian Radio hosts?
Pardon me?
You want me to interview, or you're saying they all are tired? What are you saying?
We tired of the same 2 clowns from the rejects in this Gong Show. The FNM and the PLP. Please, y'all, go around looking and interview some other people. Interview the IOC, the COI. Interview, what the next one? What the lady name? Servant leader. Go get some independent people. Interview God, them, man. Let's do something else, right?
Running, as far as we know, for anything. But okay. They have to make themselves available, right? You can only ask so many times.
Dwight,
and we have to make sure they have something to say. But I hear you.
Dwight, you gotta
I'm sure you're going to be
interview
hearing. Why did he bring up your name?
You
Are you running for something?
You have to interview me. Apparently, you talk
I'm
sense.
sure you're going to be hearing a lot from a whole lot of different people as the election gets closer.
Do you have any idea when that is? I heard some whispers.
What difference does it make if we know? What will change?
Wasn't that something we were supposed to also know?
What?
Election dates. No?
You're talking about dreams.
Dreams?
These are not things that these people have promised. Definitely not this current administration's
No.
promised that. No.
People, let's make up a list of demands. How about that? And when the MP them, or the people who trying to become an MP come around your house, say this what you want.
That
No?
is always said, and yet here we are. This person says that these guys should not seek office again. Whoa. The stuff I'm editing, they are trying to sell is nonsensical and not worthy of a group of so-called professional people. Please have these guys do the right thing and call an election so that serious people can administrate the affairs of the Bahamian people. I say respectfully. Well, serious people have to be running.
What's the parameters for being a serious person? I'm
don't
curious.
know.
Like, what does that
I
mean?
don't think you want to know. Under this administration, we had 2 increases in minimum wage. No, we didn't. One. And now the cut in VAT on grocery. Everyone wants everything to happen in one term. One thing I know, you can't please Bahamians. Any little help can go a long way. Okay?
I have a severe problem with that. Because when you see an increase in spending in other areas and you see a very small one in others, so just because you got a small bone, you should be happy with that small bone. When you see even larger increases happening elsewhere, I want us to be a little bit more discerning in what we deserve as a people, no matter the administration in power. I wish we could be more objective. Take a step back as a people. Let's see where all of our money is going. Millions of dollars are being thrown around. Loans here, loans there. but how are we existing as a people? How is it improving our existence as a people? Like I every week, every day, there's something inside the newspaper about some other loan, but we are not seeing it as a people in real time. You have this taking VAT off on Kafu. What else could be done? How could we better use these millions of dollars that we keep borrowing? And we're not even talking about what it does take to pay those things back. Come on, man. Y'all stop this. I know y'all better than that.
Callers will come to you in just a second. This person says the $11 can't be the right calculation. That's saying only $220 spent per month. Yeah. But it's talking about averages a lot. There's some, I'm not sure about the numbers either. But caller, what say you? Good morning. Are you there? Hi.
Deandra. Listen,
Hi.
You are spot on. You know, every 5 years, and we as a people, we really need to stop this merry-go-round. People sitting in opposition have 5 years to craft plans on what they see on the field at the particular time under the current administration. And in that 5 years, they come up with a list of promises, and they need to test or put the litmus test on the promises that they're going to make to see whether they're going to achieve them within the 5 years and come back to the nation and give a report in terms of, hey, this thing here may not take 5 years, this may take 10 years, but we're going to begin the process towards that goal. But we don't get that. All we get is the promises that in this particular term, this, and this, we're going to accomplish it. And then, you know, you get a list of 10 things, and you'll be lucky enough if they accomplish even 3 of the things. But yet they move on to other things that was not promised. All this money that they're borrowing, again, you're absolutely correct. They're borrowing all this money. We see nothing in real time on the ground, tangible enough to say, hey, this money was earmarked for this, and this is what we accomplished with the money. And we are left as Bahamians swinging our hands in the breeze, trying to figure out, well, if we didn't get what we were supposed to get out of this, how are we going to pay this money back?
It's not even
us.
us.
That's the part that really bothers me.
It's going to be our children. It's our children.
Not just our children.
Our grandchildren. Listen, when I see these loans, I'm like, how did we get so comfortable with $70 million, $120 million? It's like every time I say, let me start keeping track of how many millions of dollars in loans are being taken out. And when I look at the numbers that are being brought in as an income, I and y'all know I'm a numbers girly at the moment, right? So it's like I want us, but we had to break it down in a way that the majority of the Bahamian people cannot actually understand and fully appreciate, because we can't keep taking out loans. And then that should also be raising red flags. The fact that we are continuously taking out loans, that means we're not getting enough income. Why are we not getting enough income? Because our approach has not been diversified as much as it can be. But that's a whole other show.
All right, let's take another call. Good morning. Caller, you're on the air. Hi, caller. Good morning. Are you there? Let's take the other one. Good morning, caller. You're live on the air.
Yes, Dwight and Ms. Cartwright, Seattle and Johnson. Dwight, you know, the problem is that, we've been dictated to just tell us, have discussions on what we think, what we feel, what we believe, and what we heard. And like Ms. Cartwright, what you just spoke about the loans, you haven't counted the off-book loans known as PPP. Those are not gifts. Those are millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars that we have to pay for. And they never come with explanation of how they will be paid. And I hear the people arguing about vote for independence. And again, it shows respectfully that we don't have an understanding of how our country is run. We are run by a political party based on our Constitution. But the most important thing that we don't discuss that is necessary, we keep looking to government as this nanny state to do things for us, when in actuality, we should be looking to them to establish legislation, policies, programs, procedures, process, and protocols that allows the economy to grow. And so you have seen inflation grow. We import inflation. Listen, if anybody tell you they could do anything for inflation, I have a four-letter word for them: liar. You must grow the economy equal to or greater than inflation. this is something we have not been doing. Because what we have is ambition greater than ability in our leadership, bringing on what is called Peter's Principle, where you rise to the level of your incompetence. And so just saying independence is not going to fix our problem. We need the collective intelligence of all of us, and we need leadership that understands that all of us is superior in thoughts and ability than some of us. And so when you move into a position of a political party, of patronage and supporting political parties and your people, you are now, not getting the full capacity. But let's go back to this VAT. Dwight, there's so much hidden message in that article that was written, right? For instance, yes, we're talking about saving this amount on VAT, but if you look at the $20,000 income, right, it automatically tells you that these individuals can only afford, if you go 40%, what is that, $667 for rent before light, utilities. If you go 50%, $800. So that means they have to live, that's $1,667 a month that they earn. So 50% of that goes to rent automatically based on what we have right now. And even at the $44,000, you're looking at, even at the 40% level, $1,500 a month go for rent. Now, we know what it costs to live for rent in the Bahamas. And so the question then becomes, where are we in growing the economy and for individuals to participate in the growth of the economy as opposed to looking for government? Mr. Mitchell, civil service, he definitely can't say FNS is going to be firing people to, the private sector. So I think he's talking about the civil service. Where does the government get its money to carry the civil service? We have a reduced income and an increase in civil service when we're in the age of technology that we should need less workers. A 2009-10 survey said we only needed 7,500 people using technology. Now you have 80. You think you got 20,000 in the civil service, another 20,000 in different definition and SEOs. The question is, when we have this conversation, but not independence party, we need to have a conversations on the 21st century. These things we like to talk about: digital economy, aquamarine economy, knowledge-based economy, creative economy. Then where's the framework to bring these things about? Where's the framework for access to capital? We're in a whole new dispensation of fintech, RegTech, SupTech, property tech, etc. But we don't have the conversation. It is madness when we use the same mentality to expect a different result, but we're not demanding from leadership. And so simply saying changing persons without being able to have something to gauge their competency about. Let me end saying this.
Really quickly, Sue. Mm-hmm.
The hospitality industry is a $1 trillion opportunity. If, at best, we are less than 20% of our capacity in the tourism industry, and if nothing else we could do that we say we're so good at, then let's have a conversation about those 30,000 rooms on New Providence, those 25,000 rooms for Grand Bahama and across the island, and then begin to say, how do we convert stopover visitors from the millions of people that's available to come to us? How do we do this? Do you hear conversations on how do we expand on tourism and these different things, the very things that we're good at? Even before we get to the new, we don't. We complain about the nail because we won't get our butt up off it. Thanks.
Okay, thanks a lot. We'll take one more call and I want to read these messages before we have to take a break. Good morning, caller. You're live on the air. Are you there? No, let's read these messages. All right, this person says, Dwight Mouth can say anything and a promise is a comfort to a fool. But is there poverty in the Bahamas? Yes. Every day I see long lines at overpriced fast food places. Many Bahamians are spending more than they can afford to and live above their means. The poorest people are the ones buying all the high-priced name brand items, from food to weave to cell phones, but can't afford minutes. Poor choices. That's why many are broke and struggling. Okay, it's everything. It's everything, but the prices are very high. We are notoriously on these lists of the most expensive places in the world to live. It's not just because of the bad choices that consumers are making, right? This person says air pie and nothing burgers have the same ingredients, but it's the form factor and the time you typically eat them. What? Nothing burgers are traditionally a lunch or dinner meal. I tend to have air pie for breakfast or snack.
I love how y'all just feed into my nonsense. I love
boy. I hope the government gives the Bahamian people a sieve to tote water. Both political parties are a failure. PLP and FNM and their families need to be deprived of government money and voted out. Wow, until we get rid of this corrupt ruling political class, nothing will happen.
Hey, if y'all don't even know how deep this goes.
They go on to say something else that I'm not going to read, but it's very weird. The government of the Bahamas will continue to play with the VAT, not going to 15% because they know it's a tax burden placed on the Bahamian people. They are playing the people, so as long as VAT stays below 15%, other taxes will never be removed. This text simply says, I used to be able to afford electricity. Okay. That's it.
powerful.
That's the end of the text. Don't, oh boy. Okay. I pray the Bahamian people return this administration. My reason being, when I look at the people who want to replace them, they will only set the country back. And they're calling names about these people know what we're going to get basically the same, so it makes sense to allow this government to complete the projects that they have happening. I can honestly say this government is not perfect, but we can see things happening. Okay. Another one says here, I prayed all week. I trust Deandra Cartwright's leadership in this country any day. She is ripe for leadership, not just in Long Island, but as Prime Minister. Shine your light, Deandra, and bring Chester Robards as Minister of Communications. Okay.
What in the world?
Didn't get enough sleep over the weekend.
No, you know what? Guess what?
Offense,
guess what? This is because you go on and say at the earlier part of this show, if I run in, that's what you go on.
I asked because they said that I must interview you. I don't understand. Trump uses tariff against the world like how the Bahamas government uses it against Bahamians. I don't. Okay. Anyway,
I don't agree.
Oh boy. Anyway, we got to go to a break. When we come back, we're going to be talking with FNM leader Michael Pintard. We're talking about Grand Bahama today, and can't wait for that discussion. Hey, it's MLK Day in the U.S. Happy Martin Luther King Day. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Yeah. And hey, this song, the song was for him. So we'll be back after the news. Stay with us.
There ought to be law again. Anyone who takes offense at a day in your celebration, 'cause we all know in our minds that there ought to be a time that we can set aside.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. Text us 422-4796. And now at 8:17, it's time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Sherwin-Williams Paints. So we've got a relatively active cold front that's drifting now into the central Bahamas. That's going to continue progressing southward, producing periods of showers and a few thunderstorms as cooler temperatures filter into the northern islands throughout the day today. That front's expected to stall near the central Bahamas, near Long Island, later tonight, with winds gradually strengthening behind it. So the winds are going to continue to strengthen behind the front with possible gale force conditions and cloudiness continuing into midweek before gradually diminishing by Thursday. A weaker cold front will merge with the remnants of the front and pass north of the area into the Atlantic towards the end of the work week. That's going to allow high pressure to settle across the Bahamas by the weekend as another strong cold front emerges from the southeastern U.S. by Sunday night. For today, though, we're looking at a moderate to high risk of rip currents in place for all waters of the northern and northwest Bahamas, as well as all Atlantic waters. And so beachgoers and swimmers visiting Atlantic beaches in the northern and northwest Bahamas should stay on shore, and elsewhere should exercise caution. For today, for the extreme northern islands, including Grand Bahama, look for mostly cloudy conditions, turning partly cloudy tonight with a 10 to 20% chance of showers. Cloudy to overcast for the rest of the northwest Bahamas, including New Providence, with about a 10 to 30% chance of showers. Cloudy to overcast as well in the central Bahamas with a 20 to 40% chance of showers with possible thunderstorms. And partly sunny to sunny with fair conditions tonight and a 10 to 20% chance of showers in the southeast Bahamas. High temperatures for the northern half of the country in the mid to upper 70s only, about 76, 77 Fahrenheit, 25 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to the low to mid 60s, about 17 to 19 Celsius. For the central and southeast Bahamas, highs around 83, 84 Fahrenheit, 29 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to the low to mid 70s, about 24, 25 Celsius. For extended outlook for tomorrow, Tuesday, cloudy for most of the country, a mix of sun and clouds, turning mostly fair at night for the southeastern islands. Pretty much the same for Wednesday, and by Thursday, partly cloudy for the northern half of the country, partly sunny, turning mostly fair at night for the central and southeast Bahamas, and that's going to hold into Friday as well. That's your Morning Blend weather check brought to you by Sherwin-Williams. If you're ready to refresh your space, head to your local Sherwin-Williams for premium paint, pro tips, and everyday deals that make it easy to get started. And time for a look at traffic, brought to you by RBC. With RBC, your ideas happen here. A reminder of some of the work going on. We've got Windsor Road seeing some work being done and in preparation for paving. You're asked to avoid the area if you can or follow the posted signs. And then again, that's going to be taking place between Bernard Road and Kildare Drive. Most of that expected to be happening in the mornings between 9:30 a.m. and 2:30 p.m. In your real-time traffic right now, we've got a number of hot spots. We've got Milo Butler Highway as usual, heavy traffic for you if you're heading northbound from well south in the Fire Trail roundabout straight through to Tonic Williams Darling Highway. Traffic backed up a bit along Tonic Williams Darling Highway right now. And if you're near the six-legged roundabout, especially on the John F. Kennedy Drive side, you're going to be seeing slow-moving eastbound traffic towards that roundabout. West Bay Street near Saunders Beach, also slow-moving eastbound traffic as you're approaching Providence Highway roundabout. Over in Gladstone Road, we're seeing some heavy, slow-moving traffic once you get north of Munnings Road on the way to the roundabout with John F. Kennedy Drive and Bahamar Boulevard. Blue Hill Road, heavy traffic for you this morning from Carmichael straight through to the roundabout with Bernard Road. Similar story on East Street, north and south of the Soldier Road intersection. Independence Drive, heavy traffic both directions this morning. And along Prince Charles Drive, not the place to be at all this morning. At the major intersections like Foxhill Road, especially as you get to Beatrice Avenue, straight through to Robinson into Old Trail and Marathon. You're going to be seeing that slow-moving westbound traffic this morning. Eastern Road, not much better for you. You're pretty much not moving. Just east and west of Fox Hill Road until you get up to Johnson Road if you're heading westbound. And downtown near Nassau Street on West Bay Street, slow-moving traffic both directions there. That's your real-time traffic and your Morning Blend Traffic Alert. Also brought to you by NUA Insurance Agents and Brokers. Reminding you that they're your partner for smart motor insurance and advice that puts you first, whether you're at home or on the go. Getting an instant motor quote is easy. Give them a call or visit your nearest branch or log in anytime at nuainsurance.com.
At Cleveland Clinic, care is everything. So when your primary purpose is to care for the world, you'd start with your community until you're accessible anywhere. You make complexities your specialties and put compassion before anything else, all to redefine what's possible. For everyone, everywhere. For every care in the world. Cleveland Clinic.
Looking for insurance that fits your lifestyle and your budget? At Star General Insurance, we've got you covered. Whether it's motor insurance with flexible options for third-party liability and comprehensive coverage, or commercial insurance products that protect your business, we have choices you can afford. Own a home or renting? Our home insurance products have just what you need. And for the adventurers out there, we offer marine insurance too. Visit our website or social media pages for contact information and quotes. Star General, insurance made simple.
Mommy, are you renting to Santa too?
You have Santa. I have CIBC Caribbean.
CIBC has sweetened the season so you can bring your holiday dreams to life and wrap a new home or land with incredible cashback deals. Plus, your approved loan gives you a chance to win up to US $5,000. Apply now at www.cibccaribbean.com/sweeten the season. Terms and conditions apply.
Here's a sure-winning art store moment from Shelley and Dee Dee.
We're the only full art store in the Bahamas. If we don't have it, we make a list, and trust me, our boss can get that. If you need that, he can get that. You can find sketchbooks, acrylics, the canvases in all sizes, stencils. We have the Angelus that they use on shoes and letters. We're the only persons in Nassau that carries the Montana spray. We have the Krylon sprays, watercolor and paints, the oil, chalk paints, the alcohol paint, metallic paints, the little Floetrol, and we have cleaning products for the artists, thinning products for the artists, and Crayola colors, and glitters, pencils, the Posca markers, and pastels, oil, and the acrylic pastels, dyes. Oh yeah, we also have airbrush paint. I didn't forget that part of the movie. Gift sets, hobby craft,
Oil shrimp, stew shrimp, shrimp gumbo. But art supplies. We have a lot of them. Sherwin-Williams Art Store. Find colour in every day.
No one likes a fender bender.
Oh, man.
From a little scratch to a full mashup, NUA Insurance has got you covered with auto insurance tailored to fit your needs and budget. For affordable rates with free on-site accident assistance, visit us online or in branch and just ask us. NUA Insurance. Ask us because we've got you covered.
Put more money back in your pocket with the Fidelity Debt Consolidation Loan. Why pay more when you can pay less? Reduce your monthly debt payments down to one low, easy payment. Apply for a Fidelity Debt Consolidation Loan today. Call 356-7764.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
Mr. Johnson trying to find Freddie, and Margaret looking for Lil. They look all around on Bay Street, Baintown, Palmdale, and over the hill. Cross the bridge to Paradise Island, but alas, to no avail. So they all come to one conclusion: they're in Freeport or they're in jail. So if you're looking, searching, and worrying, you'll find it's true without any fail. If you can't find your friends in Nassau, they're in Freeport or they're in jail. Auntie Alice looking for Mary, and she cousin Leslie and Gail. She even fly to Miami, Coral Gable and Fort Lauderdale. But she still come to this conclusion after using plane, car and sail. If you can't find your friends in Nassau, they're in Freeport or they're in jail. So if you're looking, searching and worrying, you'll find it's true without any fail. If you can't find your friends in Nassau, they're in Freeport or they're in jail. Go!
We are back with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Deandra Cartwright. And as promised this morning, we are talking about Grand Bahama with the leader of the opposition, Michael Pintard. We've been talking about having this discussion for a while now, and finally we're going to get to it today. Good morning. Good to see you. Happy New Year.
Good morning. Thank you very much for having me back, and it's good to see both of you.
Okay, so recently the FNM said they're going to be putting more focus on Grand Bahama. Tell us the reason why and what that means. What form is that going to take?
Well, I mean, we have not ignored Grand Bahama, so this is not renewed focus. I've been a member of Parliament now for the last 2 terms. The Honourable Kwesi Thompson, who works in East Grand Bahama primarily, has been very vigilant. As you know, we've already ratified our candidate for Central Grand Bahama, Frasette Gibson, and so again we're extremely active. We have Omar Isaacs, who's been ratified for West Grand Bahama and Bimini, but we now know that Bimini is going to be with the Berry Islands, and so we are in the process of determining the candidate. I believe that has been largely concluded in terms of internal discussions, but we are not going to preempt the process. We'll next week sometime we hope to have an update on that particular matter, and we'll be settling again in less than 2 weeks or so the Pine Ridge seat. So we're excited about the talent that will work with the veterans in Grand Bahama and the new visionary young people who continue to support the party in Grand Bahama. We'll be working diligently to address the range of issues that we have addressed previously, but more so the ones I've identified are priorities for us going into 2026. So at the end of the year, we laid out a number of those particular concerns. And so I want to say good morning to all of the Grand Bahamians, those that are on the island, and unfortunately many Grand Bahamians who are elsewhere but desire to be home and are working diligently to make sure that the economy is revived so that they could be sustained once they return home. I want to say good morning to all of them in general, to the residents of Marco City in particular, to say good morning and just how grateful I am for this rare opportunity to represent you.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about those priorities, and then at some point we want to talk about medium to long-term vision for Grand Bahama and how it operates. But let's begin. What do you see as the priorities right now, things that need to be addressed and that you're hoping to address should you become the next leader of the country?
Well, the twin big items would be the sale of the Grand Lucayan and the revitalization of the tourism product in general, because that's not the hotel isn't the end all be all, because you can have a hotel. We've had the hotel before, and yet there were a number of unmet needs or opportunities that we didn't seize in the remainder of the tourism product, but certainly the hotel. Secondly, the airport. The government has had numerous false starts on it. They have announced funding, several different funding models, each of which have not panned out. The amounts they have talked about have constantly changed. Right. The source of funds have constantly changed. And you would remember the Deputy Prime Minister predicting that phase 1 would have been completed early 2025, and we would have expected to be through the second phase by the end of 2025. We're now in 2026, and nothing has happened. So one priority is the twin development, and I say twin only because both of those rely on each other. Some persons who are minded to consider the hotel are concerned about the airport and airlift, and whether or not we would have the capacity to service a property where you would require. Could be 3, it could be 827 million, as the government predicted with the last signing, that the rally that they held. It's more than 500 persons where they appear to have perpetrated a fraud on the Bahamian people by indicating that not only had the hotel been sold, but they had $120 million in the bank, a direct quote from the Deputy Prime Minister, which has never been refuted by the Prime Minister. In fact, so we hold both of them responsible for the claim of 120 million. Yet we are unable, they are unable certainly to explain why, if $120 million has been made available, how is it that you have not been able to consistently pay workers, and why have you reduced the vast majority of the days that they were working?
And why are they still paying the workers?
And precisely, they indicated that it was then the responsibility of the partner, and they continue to fall behind with payments. So I think about 2 weeks ago or thereabout, they would have sought to catch up on the arrears and payments, and now they're behind again another 2 weeks. If what is being reported by workers is to be believed, and I trust those persons who I was leaving my office. I was home campaigning and in Marco City, and persons knock on the window and say, "Listen, man, we haven't been paid in 2 weeks," and so that would be the big ticket item, the development of the airport, which again, when we were kicked out of office, we had gone as far as to make sure that the property was then transferred into the government's inventory. We had again created a framework to entertain requests for proposals. We had shortlisted several groups, consortiums that we thought could successfully compete and succeed in building a state-of-the-art airport. One of those consortium that has just been slightly reconfigured, and we know that that's the primary group that the government is talking with. And knowing a number of those players, we don't doubt their capacity to deliver. In fact, that consortium we fully expected would have brought money to the table, not just expertise in design of the airport and construction, but that they would have been able to bring financing. And it is my understanding that there was some progress being made by that consortium to attract financing, but it has apparently gone nowhere, and the government seemed to share some responsibility in why that is the case, and they ought to clarify, because there's tremendous amount of chatter about that. We also were aware that there were airport operators with global reputation that have been available, that have been visiting the Bahamas, and was hopeful that the government would get the deal done, so that we could proceed in terms of addressing the airlift problem, as well as continuing to address the pre-clearance. Because with the return of the airport, one of the things that's absolutely critical is to make sure we could get pre-clearance restored, so that Grand Bahamians don't have to travel to New Providence in order to travel to the U.S. Again, taking advantage of the pre-clearance. Outside of that, you'd have to go on the boat in order to go to the U.S. But you need certain documents that would permit entry into the U.S. And so, again, there's a number of concerns aside from the hotel. But the Deputy Prime Minister, the Prime Minister must be honest with the Bahamian people and not make claims of having 120 million. If it's not sold, just say so. If they're if you hope to have gotten that in kind, say so, but not deceive the public. So that's the number one issue.
And you have no other insight into what's happening with the hotel being there in Grand Bahama, or in your position in the government?
Well, certainly we have written to the Prime Minister. We've written to Concord, Wilshire. We have met with their attorney, one of their attorneys, and we have again made available the long list of questions. We have not gotten an answer. The government wanted to be a part of the meeting with the strategic partner. We said that was not the arrangement. We'd like to meet with them separately. So we are neither able to meet with them separately on the matter or jointly. So we're not getting answers, save and except to say that we are hearing that no $120 million had been transferred, and that statement was false.
Are they even involved at all? Do we know the extent of what they are responsible for? Did this deal even
Well,
happen?
we only know what they're supposedly responsible for based on what was announced at the PLP rally that they held at the hotel under the guise of a signing of an agreement, and claims that a conveyance had been executed. So that they had gone beyond just the heads of agreement, looking at responsibilities of both sides, that they were well on their way. And again, we were hopeful, cautiously optimistic, because we're pulling for the people of Grand Bahama, we're pulling for the island, and to the extent that this government could deliver on the matter would be a blessing for the island. So we weren't hoping for their failure, but we do know their tendencies.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about the island in general. What do you feel has been the problem? Why it's struggled so much in the last couple of decades, and what do you see as the way forward to turning this around and righting the ship?
Well, we are also monitoring the relationship and the discussions between the government and the Grand Bahama Port Authority, that the arbitration process that has been going on quietly. It is our hope that this matter would be resolved one way or another with a sense of urgency, because, again, we said from the beginning that we thought the government and the Grand Bahama Port Authority, as well as licensees, locked in discussions and other stakeholders in Grand Bahama, because the big industrials, it's important that they be party to these discussions. The chamber party to these discussions, because we believe that to the extent that all stakeholders, central government, the municipal government, which is GBPA, local government, but the licensees, the long-suffering licensees, all of them ought to have been in discussions about the way forward. And these could be closed-door meetings. This is certainly something I would do, given a chance to govern, that you bring all the players around the table. Because consider this for a moment. If you had all of the industrials, you had the licensees, GBPA, the government, with a solid schedule of meetings looking at the issue of the tourism product, the airlift, and the fact that it's fairly expensive to come to Grand Bahama in terms of flying from the U.S., et cetera, which makes no sense. Grand Bahama should be the cheapest locations, the most affordable locations to come to, and then to look at the broader issue of doing a facelift in Freeport in particular, and then by extension across the island, addressing the high electricity costs, which continues to be an albatross around the necks. It continues to weigh down businesses and residents with the rates that are presently being charged in Grand Bahama. So stakeholder, that is different categories of Grand Bahamans coming together to discuss the way forward. Unfortunately, that has not happened. I regret that when we were in, I thought that ought to have been a priority item. Obviously, this government has learned nothing from any missteps we would have had, because they have now, I think, been worse in terms of their contribution to Grand Bahama than we were when we last served. Mm-hmm. And so that kind of discussion it was important. It didn't happen. Since the arbitration is what is happening now, we would like a speedy resolution to that, so we could get a sense of what is the way forward with respect to the relationship between GBPA and the government. I've been on record as saying that the time has come that there is greater Bahamian involvement in the management of the municipality, that the period to have just two families preside over the development or the regulatory environment in Freeport, that time has come and gone, right? And so that's one item. The second item is that it is good that you have various Bahamian groups expressing interest in buying into the port group of companies, those companies outside of GBPA, some of which the families would have shares in, like the utility company, et cetera. It is good that Bahamians are expressing an interest into purchasing shares or are becoming major stakeholders in those groups, and I think that's an important move forward. And so it is important for Bahamians who do not understand the structure in Grand Bahama, and I don't profess to be the expert on it, but just to say that there was a time that the equivalent of a GBPA also had as a part of it the utility company, that is the water company, the light company, the sanitations, the services, the maintenance companies that are there, the land holdings and so forth. Under the Progressive Liberal Party over the years, each of those revenue-generating entities were privatized. I wouldn't dwell on it. I just wanted to make that point because the government likes to play as if it is this, that they are committed to the empowerment of not just people in general, but black people in Grand Bahama, and but not tell the entire story that they played a pivotal role under their watch of the revenue-generating parts of that whole consortium being privatized. So even now, as they are in this tug-of-war with GBPA, it is not an entity that's holding, that is generating any remarkable amount of money, contrary to what they try to give the impression on. It's all of those private companies. And so to the extent that you have private citizens in the Bahamas, I believe licensees have to be a part of that conversation as well, because to have any other entities come in and purchase or buy into without licensees being given a shot at buying into DevCo, that is the company that holds the 75,000 acres, or buying into the utility company that provides the water, or buying into the power company. I think to the extent that you exclude licensees, people in Grand Bahama, for any other entity alone, I think it's problematic. Right. And so again, we want a resolution to the arbitration issue, closely aligned with this conflict between the governments. So we talked about the hotel in Grand Lucaya, the resolution of the arbitration matter or the conflict with GBPA and the government. The one thing that is closely related that I'd list separately is this issue of who is the regulator for utilities in Grand Bahama. Mm-hmm. I would think that the government, that BPL, that the Grand Bahama Power Company, I would think the GBPA, I think all of them should be seen to have an urgent desire for the court to resolve this matter. I cannot imagine the court not giving a timely date if all sides of this conflict are pressing to say, listen, this matter is hindering development because there are proposals that independent power producers have submitted, but there can be no ruling on whether or not they can provide power or enter into the energy space in Grand Bahama. Right. If there is no clarity on who is it that they're dealing with. Are they dealing with IRCA or are they dealing with GBPA? Mm-hmm. If neither IRCA or GBPA are able to act, then you are hindering the forward movement. And quite frankly, we have to take a look at the energy sector and find partners that's going to provide the most affordable price for energy for us in Grand Bahama. And right now, we are deeply concerned about the rates that are strangling many of our constituents. Right. And so this court date has not, apparently, to my knowledge, this matter has not been resolved and it's hanging over our head. So that would be the third issue that we are deeply concerned about.
Okay, so I want to get back to the port area in a bit. We'll come back to that with these are the short-term issues that you feel need to be addressed right away. I want to get back to a longer-term vision. But let's talk, before we do that, let's talk about West and East Grand Bahama, which is
government control.
By the government.
Yes.
Let's talk about that and the issues there and what your vision is for East and West Grand Bahama.
Right. So just as a preamble to sharing what my vision, our vision is in the Free National Movement, let me say that your reference to East and West Grand Bahama gets to the heart of the contradiction behind the Progressive Liberal Party and all of their commentary on Grand Bahama in general. So in other words, the fight that they are presently in Freeport, they are seeking to make the case that they are the best. That is, the progressive liberal are the best group to manage a free port. That's ultimately what their discussion is. This isn't just about holding one group or municipal government responsible. Mm-hmm. This is also about saying, listen, we have your best interests at heart. We're the most qualified. We could get the job done. The contradiction is here the same government has complete control of West Grand Bahama, complete control of East Grand Bahama, and there is no evidence of them doing a good job in East or West, as is the case in a number of family islands. Just ask Eleutherians relative to the electricity woes that they have, the water inconsistency in water supply, the problem with connectivity with the internet. Ask the folks in Michael, who, when the government lies about a lack of load shedding in New Providence, which was nonsense, and then, of course, about consistency in power supply in the rest of the family island, when multiple islands, I live in New Providence a part of the week, and I can tell you you have power inconsistency. And so here we can look at the rest of the country where the government has complete control, and they have failed to deliver on a vision of proper land use, properly coordinating community developments, meeting basic needs in terms of utilities, etc. And yet they wish to make the case that they could do better in Freeport. Well, the best way to sell people on your ability to do well in other areas is point to how well you are doing in the area that you completely control, and they're not doing well. Yeah. I would lead a charge to ensure that we play to the strengths of East and West Grand Bahama. Both communities are prime for a robust development of eco and heritage tourism initiatives. We have Celebration Key in the East, where residents in the East and the remainder of the island have not yet seriously felt the economic impact and social impact of that development. We believe that development is going to pay some dividends. It is by way of direct employment of possibly around 500 or between 500 and 600 persons. Again, there are still some issues there, at least certainly with one of the subcontractors that we'll develop that at another time, who has to, behave differently than they are presently behaving with some of the employees. But to stay focused on this point, East Grand Bahama in particular, as it relates to Celebration Key, should feel the impact of that development being in its backyard. Mm. So one of the things the Tourism Development Corporation can do, the Ministry of Grand Bahama can do, is assist in developing world-class attractions in conjunction with, because that's the mandate of the Tourism Development Corporation, with residents. That residents have first dibs on the development of any attraction that those visitors at Celebration Key would be able to go into the community and spend money, learn about our history, our culture, go snorkeling, spend time on the beach, swim with the pigs, and anything else that's safe for them to swim with. So again, there are ample opportunities there, and the government has had nearly 4.5 years to demonstrate its ability to create opportunities for residents. So eco and heritage tourism, there's tremendous history.
That's the future.
That is
Eastern Grand Bahama tourism based.
That is substantially. Second part of the vision for East Grand Bahama is, again, the inventory of agriculture land resides in East Grand Bahama. And so we have tremendous potential to, again, create a variety of agricultural systems that can help to supply, whether it's fruits, vegetables, livestock, not just to Grand Bahama, but certainly to the rest of the Bahamas.
I think that happen since Dorian with the damage that was done?
Yes, of course. Bear in mind that agriculture, particularly fruits and vegetables, are not exclusively dependent on going into the soil. You can have, again, a number of greenhouses stretch across East Grand Bahama, temperature controlled, or you can have shade houses. You can have grow boxes elevated off the ground to mitigate against any future climatic event and surges. With greenhouses, grow boxes that can, if a catastrophic event is headed to the Bahamas, be dismantled, secured, etc. Until such a storm or hurricane has passed. So the potential for agriculture development, inclusive not just fruits, vegetables, livestock, but also horticulture, the production of flowers. Right. We have access to expertise globally that would work with the Bahamas. When I was in the Minister of Agriculture, we had developed a close relationship with the Volcani Institute in Israel. We had cultivated a good relationship as well with the People's Republic of China. And some of the greenhouses this government has taken possession of was the initial discussions that we had generated that bore fruit once they came to power. So we have been in multiple discussions and to construct arrangements of benefiting with technical assistance. So East Grand Bahama can be, in many ways, a breadbasket of Grand Bahama in general, though based on the amount of land, other areas can similarly contribute to decreasing the $1 billion with a B dollars food bill that we presently have in the Bahamas. West Grand Bahama has historically been a commerce center, again, with so many businesses thriving there. West Grand Bahama, similar to East Grand Bahama, have been wonderful fishing villages, and there are still opportunities for both of them to thrive in the fishing sector. We're not just talking about daytime or overnight fishing, but standing up robust fleets of vessels that can attract young, talented Bahamians who, in my view, some of them should give consideration to entering into the program that we designed at Ministry of Agriculture when I was there, a dive program that they can learn to dive so that, again, we have persons who understand our way of fishing, who are not going to be divers on vessels where they are diving conch, cracking the conch on the bottom on the seabed, leaving the shells, which creates a graveyard and prevents other conch from congregating in that area. What we want are Bahamian divers primarily, well, exclusively. So anyone else, if they were born elsewhere, they should go through the process. If they're citizens eventually, then they can join the fleet following our cultural practices, not bringing theirs. So there's the potential for fisheries development. I believe that even aquaculture or mariculture, that is the farming of fish, I believe that even those Bahamians should be given first dibs on those areas of producing seafood. Bear in mind, fishing in the ocean is the exclusive domain of Bahamians.
Right. How
fish farming on land permits foreigners. So that is a discussion we must now revisit, and Bahamians, in my view, ought to be given a priority in that sector as well.
How quickly could we begin to see this type of movement? How long would it take?
Again, some of it, in my view, within 2.5 years, we can be completely self-sufficient and quite possibly less in the production of eggs, as well as in the production of turkey, as well as chicken. We left in place a study that is in the Ministry of Agriculture that was funded by the Food and Agriculture Organization in Rome, that in our view should have already done much of the preliminary work for this government ahead of their Golden Yoke announcement.
Right.
$23 million later, the Golden Yoke has not produced the eggs that they promised. We left in place an agro-village concept for them that was being supported by the Volcani Institute out of Israel. Mm-hmm. That has gone nowhere. Land was being cleared for 25 acres here in New Providence. Grand Bahama, again, we were going to put the agro-village, that is different agriculture systems, in one cooperative village, drawing from the same source of both energy and water. And that was going to happen on 6 different islands. That has gone nowhere. So we believe that within the first 2 years, you can appreciably see a dent in that $2 billion that $1 billion bill that the Bahamas presently has for agriculture foods.
Wow. All right, so we need to take a break and we need to get news headlines in. But when we come back, I want to get back to the Freeport, the port area, and the vision for that area, and just the governance of the island. Whether we need a new system for Grand Bahama. And we'll take a few calls and some of the text messages as well.
Well, we'll be happy to take calls. We're not like the chairman of the PLP who keep running. Wouldn't come on the show because he's scared.
He'd come on, but he won't take calls.
He's scared.
Hey,
scared.
We are talking with FM leader Michael Pintard. We're talking about Grand Bahama. And we have a whole lot more to get to when we get back. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Way out west, there lives this dame. She'll put any dancer to shame. If you want to watch her dance, want to watch her prance, get her in a circle, watch that lady dance. She got a West End move. She got a West End move.
In the world of business, technology is not a choice, it's a necessity. And for businesses that demand excellence, there's only one choice for unparalleled support and cutting-edge technology. Custom Computers. You have challenges and we have solutions. Computing, networking, storage, and printing for enterprises large and small, aligned with premium brands like HP, Microsoft, Konica Minolta, and more. Get tech done the right way with Custom Computers. Call the know-how team at 396-1101.
Southwest Plaza has so many stores, I've been trying to find a sensible way to list them all. There's CBS Bahamas, the Ashai Institute, BENC Snack World, Bamboo Shack Bahamas, there the Athlete's Foot and BTC, Games and More, John Bull Fine Threads, Alive Bahari, Dairy Queen, 700 Wines and Spirits, Sandy's Clocks and Island Luck, Starbucks and Lowe's Pharmacy, plus Marco's Pizza and Lorraine. Southwest Plaza, what a wide array of stores. Southwest Plaza, stop by today and explore.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas. Opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
And welcome to a special edition of Morning Blend Business on this Monday, January 19th, 2026. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan along with DeAndre Cartwright. We continue our discussion with F&M leader Michael Pintard. We're talking about Grand Bahama and what needs to be done to save the island. Okay, so you mentioned the port before. I wanted to get back to that. You said something very interesting. You said that the time for just the two families to be running the port, that time has come and gone, and that there needs to be more Bahamian participation in this, more local participation. Okay, so when you say just the families, do you mean that there's still a role for them to play, or is the time gone entirely?
Well, I mean, certainly those persons who we have had when we were in government discussions with, there are a number of Bahamians who are part of the family. So all Bahamians are welcome. It really doesn't matter. What we're talking about is exclusivity is what the concern is. It's the same concern we have about a BPL. We believe that oligopolies, black or white, these small groups of powerful people, we need to shake up the system. We need more Bahamians to participate in ownership across the country. Freeport would be no exception. And so we welcome the idea of the port group of companies having share offerings and more Bahamians being able to buy in. We again, both in terms of those who are responsible for the regulatory environment as well as those private companies. We're not talking about forcing people. We're simply encouraging the inclusion of a broader base of shareholders, which we believe is beneficial to those companies in terms of growing the amount of capital. It's beneficial to creating more Bahamians who have a stake in these companies and by extension the islands. That's the same argument we made with BPL, that we would have done the deal. We will do such deals differently. That the sovereign, that is the government of the Bahamas, earmarking revenue from any privatization process they go through, what revenue they get ought to go into the redevelopment of the part of the assets that the government is still responsible for. The other part goes into a sovereign wealth fund. And we also, the Bahamians should be able to buy in, but not buy in at $60,000, $50,000, $40,000, $30,000. But if you have $1,000 or $2,000 and you wish to buy in, that you have the ability to buy in. One of the Bahamian investors that benefited from a strategic alliance with one of those companies who's a part of the BPL privatization process, says, well, then we already have a company that persons can invest through. Well, maybe the Bahamians are not interested in doing that. They want to invest in the asset, that component, the thing that we used to own, that's now owned that you want to put in private hands. We're saying, put it in private citizens' hands as well. In addition to any other consortium you have in mind, make Bahamians owners as well. And that's the same model we're talking about in Grand Bahama. We encourage more shareholders, and that's what we will drive.
We are seeing companies come forward saying they're interested in buying the port.
Good sign.
Why do you think that's encouraging?
I mean, listen, Bahamians, a number of Bahamians have resources, or at a minimum have access to resources. Because many of the companies that buy into the Bahamas, they are somewhere else, and in some cases, in the Bahamas itself, raising capital. They're going to some of the same local institution once they have an agreement in principle with government, and they're raising capital. So there's no 1, 2, 3, or 10 groups in the Bahamas that have capacity to have a vision for the development of a thing and then to go to market to try and convince others to buy into that vision. What we need is to send a clear signal to Bahamians that their government has confidence in them and willing to promote a share holding society, meaning whenever we take government assets, the people's assets rather, and we privatize them, Bahamians, the ordinary Bahamians, plus those with historical wealth, should be given an opportunity to buy in. And unfortunately, that's not the approach of this government.
So you believe that the future of Freeport still rests in the company model, where people with money buy in to run it, as opposed to perhaps elected officials?
Look, I support elected officials. I mean, that would be the primary model. But I would say we will drive the process to sit down and look at what is the best local government model to drive future development. That is a discussion that is long overdue. But what I don't want people to be confused about is that the revenue generating companies, it is not GBPA. I'm interested in more Bahamians owning a part of DevCo. The development company that's presently owned in part by by Hutchison and in part by the those persons who are associated with the Grand Bahama Port Authority, etc. More Bahamians should be able to buy into that. The utility company, the water company, more Bahamians, it would be wonderful for them to open it up. And again, let me give you an example of why I believe practically this makes sense. I represent Marco City. We have 1.7 miles of roads that are unpaved. 1.7. Wow. And only sparingly the government has ventured in to assist with the paving. And again, that's a problem because they are our constituents. Why would the government not be concerned about many residents who do not have paved roads? Secondly, those roads also there are no water lines under them. So persons are still using a pump and in order to power the wells that they have. And so during hurricane, they are in bad shape, particularly because there's no electricity to power the pump, so there's no water. And so I was successful in getting some of those roads paved in Marco City, as well as water lines put down in one area, Bluebill Circle. Here's the practical problem. The practical problem is the moment persons are registered to say, listen, we are prepared to sign up with City Water, you had service charge fees that were levied on them that discourage future signing up because people be like, look, I wasn't paying service charge because clearly you're not providing us with any service. And so in that area, people did not have the benefit of the area being maintained. The road was not paved. There was in some cases no lights. So what the hell are you charging me service charge for? The developer can no longer be found. And so these are practical things that, in my view, a municipal government working in tandem with central government will help residents hold the estates of these developers responsible and in the meantime assist in putting in these infrastructure, lights for many of these dark corners, paved roads, as well as water lines so that persons are able to be plugged into the overall grid. I want Bahamians to buy in to all those auxiliary companies that used to be a part of the consortium with GBPA, referred to as a port group of companies. I want Bahamians to be able to buy into those.
How soon after coming to office would you be able to have these conversations and make these?
We are already having these conversations. We have been having these conversations with them. And while once I became leader, I have reached out and have commenced discussions on these matters. So this isn't we're going to wait until the day comes. I live in Grand Bahama. We have cordial relationships with a cross-section of persons in the business community, and we have been making the case that so again, conversations have commenced. They will again move to a different level once we take office.
And we're going to go to the calls in just a bit. But for those like myself and people who call it often, who say we need to decentralize the government and we need greater autonomy for Grand Bahama to be able to make decisions without Nassau being involved in everything. What do you say to that?
We completely agree. Remember. We were engaged while in government in moving quickly to have the environmental bylaws passed. I participated, so did the Honorable Kwesi Thompson, participated with the lawyers for the port, representatives from the port, representatives from the Ministry of the Environment, Ministry of Agriculture. All of us participated in seeking to have the environmental laws passed. And all that means is why is it necessary that you get approval in Grand Bahama to implement a particular project? You now have to, again, go to the Cabinet of the Bahamas for most of these major projects. You're going to the Cabinet of the Bahamas, and even a cabinet could be held up by the Ministry of Environment relative to these projects. But if we were to, again, say, listen, we have a set of laws governing the stewardship of the environment. We expect that Grand Bahama, any regulations they have, to be consistent with those laws. The government can have an auditing function, which means that if you see any excesses, failure to apply the law because the group that's giving the approval in Grand Bahama is just trying to get projects through one after the other. The government still has a window to, again, intervene in those matters. But there is no need for approval one at the Grand Bahama level, and then you go to cabinet where all kinds of political considerations come in that should not arise. I support a one-stop shop, and the government can be party to some of those discussions so that at the same time it's being discussed in Grand Bahama, that they have a site depending on whether or not there are some immigration concerns or even if you have environmental concerns, you are at least party to those discussions to see whether or not has an environmental impact assessment been done. Is there an environmental management plan that has been put in place, etc.? There is no need for the two-step process the way we're doing it. Furthermore, environmental laws would empower a municipal government to go out and remove these dilapidated buildings, assess the cost to whoever owns that estate if they are not minded themselves to deal with unsafe structures or structures that are a blight on, in other words, so unattractive that it again discourages persons who are minded to invest. When I drive down Queens Highway, sometimes my heart is heavy. Mm-hmm. When I drive through certain constituencies and see the amount of buildings that are dilapidated, again, if it affects me as I'm driving through, I know it affects persons who live there on a regular basis. And so you should be empowered. A municipal government should be empowered to be able to remove them and assess the cost to the persons who ought to have the primary responsibility of moving those buildings.
How open would you be to Grand Bahama becoming a semi-autonomous state or province within the country, like we see in other Commonwealth countries, like we see in Canada and Australia?
No, I've gone as far as I'm prepared to based on the discussions I've been in. So that's entirely a different story. So again, these are discussions we have been actively having, and so I'm concentrating on those. But I do believe I support local government and the strengthening of it, the ability of local government to, in fact, raise resources in order to fund initiatives that the people believe are absolutely important. And that's why it is important that local government happens in New Providence. Again, we need power in the hands of people on the ground. And again, that time has come and it's passed. We need to move.
Okay, let's get some of your calls in and some of your text messages. We'll get to those in just a bit, but give us a call, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Call us toll-free. Calls from Grand Bahama, 242-300-5720. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Let's take these calls, and we'll get to your text messages in just a bit. Caller, good morning. You're live on the air. We're talking with Michael Pintard, the F&M leader. Good morning.
Hey, Grand Rising, Dwight and Mr. Pintard.
Yes, good morning, sir.
How you doing?
I'm pretty good, my brother.
Fine, thank you. I called to find out from you, right? I didn't hear you mention anything when it relates to the elderly people. I know I might have came in a little late, but I don't know if we are aware of the increase of elderly, what is relying on national insurance for survival in this country, right? I mean, it's beginning to be overwhelming when you see the amount of elderly people, in particular in New Providence, but struggling daily. What is the F&M proposing to address that, or to try to see? Because if you live long enough, right, you can become a senior citizen, and it appears that nobody has no plans for the citizen other than to possibly maybe die, right?
Yes.
So what is the? I'm gonna hang up and listen to your answer on that, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot. Remember, though, folks, I want him to answer, but we are focusing on the issues with Grand Bahama today. But your response to that?
Well, several things. One is, in Grand Bahama, one of the major challenges we have are persons who have been pretty much removed from the food program. That is the monthly subsistence that the government, or assistance that the government gives, and they are to be reclassified. In other words, I know that social services, they're doing an assessment to determine whether or not the correct persons are on that list. I'm grateful that the minister came over to have that discussion, and we invited him to say, one, leave the senior citizens on the program, do the assessment while they are on the program, because there are many persons who are vulnerable. It's indisputable, and again, since the assessment was taking, in our view, too long, they are being disadvantaged. So one is, those existing government services should not be interrupted. We should do any evaluation or reevaluation while persons are being taken care of. Secondly, over the last 36 hours, as I went door to door, particularly visiting senior citizens, there is there's a persistent complaint about the amount that they receive and the fact that there are interruptions in the amount that they receive on a monthly basis, right? I think he mentioned NIB. Now, again, that is something that we would have to look at. We knew about the food assistance program, but in terms of NIB, I need then to verify if there are any issues. There. The third thing that we're concerned about, that we intend to deal with, is we believe there needs to be senior assisted living facilities. The government, in my view, ought to empower, to assist in because I believe it being done privately is the ideal situation, but it is remarkably expensive. We assist periodically some of the senior citizens' homes on the island, and I can tell you it is costly to maintain the facilities and to care for the elderly. So we are going to be very intentional about collaborating with private owners of these facilities in order to ensure that families who wish to have a senior member of that family placed in a home, they could do so with dignity and with confidence that the needs are going to be met. Because we're helping. Every month we are seeing residents who have a problem going to work because they are unable to afford, a caretaker to be with their loved one. So they end up making the sacrifice to be home, and they are now struggling. So there are multiple families in every constituency that's dealing with that reality. Yeah. So how do we allow the breadwinner to go to work, but they are confident that mom or dad or their grandparents are in a home getting the quality of care at an affordable price? And so that is something that we will be intentional about in addressing that, because we believe the problem is bigger than the average citizen realizes. And then I'll just say the final point is NIB has to be fixed. The two ministers indicated that there were several recommendations on how to fix it. The Prime Minister on the cabinet accepted, it seemed, one of those was, again, to marginally increase the rate. The last minister announced that it will be, Alfred Sayers announced that there will be, over an extended period of time, multiple increases. The Prime Minister rebutted him, even though we knew that Cabinet, we firmly believe Cabinet made that decision. We need to know definitively, they have the facts, what do they intend to do for the long-term solvency of NIB? They cannot keep kicking the can down the road. We need to make sure that funds are available in NIB so that senior citizens can, in fact, benefit from it.
Well, as has been recommended by the auditors, I mean, there will need to be increases every few years. Are you prepared to do that?
If that is what the facts say, to keep it solvent, then we'd have to do it. I mean, but let's have an honest, sober conversation with the public. But you can't have that in isolation. You have to also make sure that the government stops misusing NIB, that you get funds to do projects and you're not paying the money back. And some of the projects may be very questionable projects. You ought to also make sure that those persons who owe NIB, including some of your big-time supporters, people with name, face recognition, and by the way, we have the list of those persons who, again, made a payment to avoid the court because they don't want to be seen in court, but have not made a payment since. So Bahamians will be more tolerant of conversations about increases if they were confident that you are getting the benefit. You
have that list.
The benefit. The benefit of those of the services of NIB, and what they're not confident of is that government is using the NIB funds for investments appropriately, and they're not confident that the government is collecting money from some of the big wigs or persons known to them. That's
you don't want
a
to
concern.
accidentally leave that list in the studio when you caller. Good morning, you're on the air. Grand Bahama, though. We're focusing on Grand Bahama today.
Good morning.
Hi.
Good morning, Mr.
Yes. Good morning, sir.
Yes, Mr. Pintard.
Michael Pintard, yes.
Since we're only concentrating on Grand Bahama this morning, I want to know, would you be a candidate in the next election in a seat in Grand Bahama?
Marco City, sir.
Or you'll be running in Marco?
Oh, without. Why did you ask that? I'm really curious. Why did you ask?
He is the representative from Marco City.
I thought, I heard on the wall that you were going into Long Island. It would be kind of funny to me because you've already run in Cat Island and Rumpke and San Salvador. You've already run in Centerville. You finally found a home in Marco
Yes, sir.
City where to be. I would think that's kind of funny for you to
No question, sir.
Being Sans, leave my cousin those in Elizabeth State.
He on the show today. Let's stay with me. Stay with me for a moment.
Yes, sir.
Stay with me for a moment. So we heard the PLP lie that I was going to run in Central because Central is a seat we have never lost. I wanted to put that to rest, and right away. So we have now nominated a wonderful veteran educator who we believe will bring Central home, and then we heard that I would go to some seats in Nassau. No, there's no possibility. There's no possibility, sir. I'm going to run in Marco City. I am.
No. If you come back into Nassau, you would commit a political.
It's a non-issue, sir. We don't even have to speculate. It's a non-issue. I love Marco City, and I'm grateful to the people for having given me an opportunity to serve them. And so I'm going to be running again in Marco City by the grace of God.
Okay. One more call on this. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning. Quick question for Mr. Michael Pintard.
Yes, good morning, sir.
Yeah, you've been in the last MP for under the FNM in that area, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, under the FNM time, so 4 years you're allowed, right? What have you done for Freeport? Particularly your area.
Well, again, I led the charge on the island of Grand Bahama in terms of the relief after Matthew. That's before being elected in 2016. So I just want to give you just a little historical context. 2016 led the charge in making sure that we put work crews to work and provided building supplies to assist in the restoration of homes in Grand Bahama. I don't just narrow it to Marco City. In 2016, my primary focus was Marco City. After Dorian, while my family was still trying to get back in our home, which took us roughly a year and a half, I believe it was, we were on the road working vigilantly to ensure that residents could return to some degree of normalcy. And we did so across 5 constituencies. In fact, I did not return to cabinet immediately. I felt I could get more done being in Grand Bahama, working with the head of Hutchison in helping, and the Ministry of Tourism and Aviation, to make sure that we could land planes that brought supplies into Grand Bahama and appropriately had them delivered throughout different constituencies, that we met vessels and coordinated relief efforts. My office is open 6 days a week. We have a minimum of 4 full-time staff members, not paid for by the government, save and except one of them. And every year, without fail, I more than double the amount of money spent. So if the government allocate 100,000, I've never spent less than 200,000. They're doing 150,000. We are comfortably double that. So what I've done is to work with other members of parliament, work with various stakeholders, work with FNMs, PLPs, and others in terms of helping to transform people's lives. Every week, without fail, we're involved in medical assistance, educational assistance, food assistance, home repairs. In fact, I would argue we probably have more people right now helping refurbish homes in Grand Bahama than the small home repair program run by the government. And we know the government is bad pay. They're not paying many of these workers. So sir, those are some of the things. And I've been a constant advocate. And my reputation throughout Grand Bahama, sir, and prayerfully growing in the country is that we don't watch colors. We serve Bahamians. That's what we do. We don't cherry pick who lives and dies, who get help and don't get help. That's what I've been doing, sir.
Okay, all right. We got a couple more. Yeah, let's squeeze this in. We're running out of time, but caller, good morning. You're on the air live.
Hey, good morning. How you doing?
Doing well.
First thing, when I just came to the Bahamas years ago, one of the first things I recognized is the marketing issue. Is we call them islands like Grand Bahama out islands. Like I always find it weird to call them out islands because it makes it feel like Nassau is Bahamas and everything else is just like it's out there. I think we should stop calling them out islands. Just call them all. They're all Bahamas, and because I think some of the treatment that the out islands get is because they're considered as out islands.
Yeah, very few are still calling them out islands. We generally do say family islands. Most people now,
yes,
but yes,
or even call them family islands in the first place. It sounds like Nassau is Bahamas, and then those are just parts of the family, as opposed to all being Bahamas. Like because they get treated like family islands in government. Like they tend to get treated like family islands. Just even what we're talking about, the centralization of government and the attention that they get the attention because they're family islands. They get treated like family islands, as opposed to be treated by one Bahama.
Very interesting points. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, we tried to talk about it earlier, decentralizing the government, and some really believing this is the only way we will see the other islands progress.
Yeah, no, we have so many brilliant Bahamians who, if given authority, will be able to do some things that in central government we have not been able to accomplish. And so, I mean, I'm confident in Bahamians. That's why one of the things I'm looking forward to presiding over is the reconfiguration and appointments on boards. One of the reasons we have authorities, commissions, etc., is to involve more persons from the private sector, from civil society, from agencies that represent different sectors on government boards in order to drive development. And I believe, unfortunately, we've squandered a lot of opportunities. Sometimes we have a nuclear approach of replacing everybody on the board and putting only partisans on the board, people who support our narrow political interests. When the reality is there are some people who may not vote for you when they go in the booth, but they are nationalists. They're just working on behalf of the Bahamian people, and they have institutional memory of what that board has been working on for years. Why would you replace that particular individual? Secondly, I believe that boards, let's pick the Junkanoo, any board that you create, whether it's an authority commission for Junkanoo, Junkanooers should be the primary group that makes recommendation on the appointment. The government, because it provides some seed capital, which if you look at total spend on Junkanoo and look at what the government contributes, I would argue that the Junkanooers spend far more money than they stand to receive from government. Why would a government then be the dominant voice in where that's open to making political decisions in that sector, as opposed to government having representation? And again, the Junkanooers having a dominant voice in the appointment. So there are many examples, I believe, of how we can put power in the hands of qualified Bahamians who are not on any political party. They are just focused on national development. And that is the direction that we'll be heading in. That we want the best voices and talents at work in their own interests. And the tentacles of government is throughout everything, unfortunately, in a way that it sometimes interfere with progress. I believe government fundamentally, we are facilitators. We are to remove impediments out of the way of residents, entrepreneurs. That's why ease of doing business has to happen. We should remove impediments, not create additional layers that complicate people's lives. And that's a part of what we will do differently than what has been done previously.
Right. Caller, good morning. You're live on the air.
Good morning, Dwight. Good morning, brother Mike.
Yes, good morning, sir.
Everything's well?
Yo, most things. Good to hear your voice, sir.
Always good to hear your voice. Just one very important question I want to ask. Now that Grand Bahama has been sort of, I wouldn't say a sleeping giant, but has been sleepy in terms of the tourism product there, i.e. the hotel sectors, saying that we have a reduction of major hotels in Grand Bahama. What is your vision for Grand Bahama to restore the tourism sector, i.e. hotel sector, to a level that you once enjoyed? My reason for asking that is, and it's quite interesting that you mentioned that regardless of political persuasion and colors, all Bahamians should become a part of the rebuilding process of the Bahamas. When you bring, are there plans that you know where you have transplants of other persons throughout the Bahamas, whether it be here in New Providence, whether it be Long Island, whether it be Bimini, or so on and so forth, with that experience, in order to get the jumpstart the product there again? Is there the mindset to actually allow persons to move to Grand Bahama, ensuring that proper housing is there for persons who want to come and help rebuild the economy there? What is the F&M plan as far as that is concerned? Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you very much.
So maybe before you join the call, Jeff, we did talk about the revitalization of the tourism product in Grand Bahama. But what I would add to that, to specifically answer you, is there is a need for us to work with our private sector folks who are interested in standing up boutique hotels. I believe that the future of the revitalization of Grand Bahama in general, East and West Grand Bahama in particular, is empowering more Bahamians who can create boutique hotels, small hotels, some of those with not more than 20 rooms, intimate properties, lodges, etc. Again, for fly fishing, for persons taking folks out on fishing expeditions to come back on to fry their own fish to enjoy again ecotourism. We believe that all of that, the heritage and ecotourism, a big part of the East and West Grand Bahama revitalization, but small boutique hotels where more Bahamians are able to benefit from stopover visitors coming to the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And so that is something, again, when I was a consultant in Ministry of Tourism in 1997, that we worked vigilantly on trying to stand up a small hotel division in the Ministry of Tourism, concentrating on dealing with the entire value chain, on how do we get them started, how do we sustain them, how do we market them globally, so that people are coming for an intimate people-to-people experience, not just at homes, but also these small hotels give you that kind of intimacy where the proprietors, the Bahamians, are able to have direct relationships with those persons who visit. So I'm completely committed to that. We need to increase the inventory of rooms throughout the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, and then most especially right now on the island of Grand Bahama. So it's not only just the Grand Lucayan making sure that is sold and developed, but it's also the boutique hotels.
Okay, a couple questions before we have to wrap up. So this has inspired me to ask about the airport. Would you consider, if you are returned to office as the leader of the country, would you consider moving the airport somewhere else? Does it have to be where it is? Is that something?
But moving it. You said moving it from where it is. We do not. This is an interesting point you made. We do not know exactly what the footprint of the airport will be. Mm-hmm. Meaning, we know where the existing airport is. One of the questions we've asked the Deputy Prime Minister and the Prime Minister was, are you moving it? Because we know that there are multiple proposals to in terms of where the airport should go. For example, there is in fact a bit of an elevation adjacent to the airport. Are we going to move it slightly in that direction? Is it going to go further down Grand Bahama Highway? We believe that the studies have already been conducted, but the public has not been made aware of the various simulations, the various options for where to move the airport, because we have not heard that there's an area that's miles away. We've heard that it's a shift in one direction or another. So we are open to looking at where would be the location. Either way, we know all of them you have to increase the elevation, and that is a serious consideration, particularly for all of the buildings that will be a part of that. Listen, Dwight, let me just say this quickly. We have a lot of brilliant Bahamians who also have access to international expertise, best in class, who have worked on these things around the world. We have access to them. People who are willing to share information, whether it's architects or civil engineers, locally and internationally, working with us. What we do not have is transparency in government, where you have an open kind of discussion, allowing experts here abroad who have the Bahamas' interests at heart to weigh in on what the future, in this case you're talking about the airport, the future airport will look like.
Right.
And so I'm concerned about that, and we will engage persons, and we'll continue to engage people who we're talking to privately, because we're not coming in cold on day one. We have a fairly good sense of a formula for financing the airport. We want partners who, again, are not reluctant to invest because the government wishes to control who all the contracts go to. We want funding to come in, a proper procurement system, so that we get the best product and the best service, and that is what this government is not committed to. That's why they single source over $500 million worth of contracts by cherry picking who they would give contracts to. So you never know, in the absence of competition, if you've gotten the best product or the best service.
All right, so we've been talking about Grand Bahama. We only have a couple minutes left. I got to ask you about this lead story today, and you've been critical of the VAT plan that the Prime Minister laid out last week. What would be your answer to bringing down the cost of living and helping Bahamians be able to afford food at this time?
Well, I said when I spoke with you even previously, we really have to transform the economy. We have to grow the economy. We are projecting next year to grow the economy by about 1.7%. So we are back at pre-pandemic numbers, contrary to what the Prime Minister continues to perpetrate on the Bahamian people, that he is doing this remarkable job growing the economy. We have seen the steady decline from 14.2% in November of 2021 down to 10. We are now we may be in the vicinity between 2 and 3%, but the government numbers project 1.7. So as you grow the economy, you put more money in people's pocket. In Step Street, where I've lived for 12 and a half years, in Key West Street, in Angliston, where I grew up, in 7th Street, in Washington Street, in Yellow Elder, in Mount Pleasant, all places I've lived as a child. You put money in their pocket. To the extent that you can put money in people's pocket, they are in a position to afford a number of the items that they desire. They can afford to provide a breakfast for their child and lunch and dinner. And so that one is you grow the economy. Secondly, we are able, within the first 3.5 years of our administration, to shave in the vicinity of $300 to $400 million off our food bill. We had the studies done with the assistance of our IDB, with the assistance of the Food and Agriculture Organization, with the assistance of CARDI, the agriculture arm of CARICOM, and IECA, the agriculture arm of the Organization of American States. In that way, you get to again bring down the cost of food in the country, and you get more Bahamians producing safe foods that they themselves produce. So those are some of the measures, Dwight, that we would be able to take in terms of affordability. In the terms of housing, I stand by what we have said. We are in discussions, have been for many months now, looking at what we can do to revolutionize the housing market. Primarily, when you look at the public service, you have police officers who are being asked to move out of certain barracks in Freeport. nurses who are going overseas, because again, we can't compete with Canada and the U.S. If we use housing as a means of cutting down the amount they have to pay in their single largest investment, which is housing, we have the land. So the $30,000-$40,000 that would have again made it difficult, a barrier for them getting the full housing package. Can we not shave $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 of somebody's housing arrangement by using Crown land, the land that they own, ultimately? And can we not streamline the process, the approval process by outsourcing some of those Ministry of Works inspection to speed up the process by which we are able to construct? Are we not able to offer some letters of comfort so that those persons who have resources, who are minded, because I believe the housing revolution, 2,000 homes at least per year on average, we could in 5-year period, we will be able to build at least 10,000 housing units, which is a combination of standalone homes, townhouses, condos in a complex, a multi-story complex. We would be able to do that. There are sufficient persons with financing, but they need a partnership with government in order to execute these kinds of arrangements. If you take corruption out of the system, if you take patronage that's done in a way that people who are totally not qualified to be in the construction business out of the equation, we will be in a better position to make sure that someone who's paying $1,200 today on rent could instead be paying $1,200 a month in rent. They could be paying $1,200 for mortgage. Wow. And that's the commitment that we make. And that would affect affordability.
Okay. 2 quick questions here. This person is asking, how do we get in contact with you if you say you're open to input from private sector professionals? What's the best way to reach you? Okay, so if you are in Bahama, feel free to call 602-0975. And if you are in New Providence, you can go ahead and send me a WhatsApp at 424-9413. So I've invested in hiring some folks to make sure I can catch up on all of these messages, so that we are able to service the persons who again reach out to us. What you can do as well is right now, can you please send your number to the show, the producer? Dwight, can I take the liberty of saying your producer right now will take the number before I walk out of the studio? Well, they got to do it really quickly.
And I'll call you as soon as I get off the show to get your number and to make sure that you're properly
trying to crash now.
It's already lighting up now.
Oh my God!
Please leave your number, and we'd love to work with you.
And really quickly, we are noticing it on social media. There is a nastiness from people who appear to be operatives from both parties. Just the name calling, the insults, the terrible things that are being said and written about people is looking pretty. And the election hasn't even been called yet, but we're heading in a bad direction. What do you say to people who are really losing their minds?
Bring the temperature down. We're one people after all. That doesn't mean you are unable to again criticize a government policy or criticize somebody for something legitimate. What we ought not be doing is trying to tear down people simply for political purposes. It is unhealthy, and there's really a short distance between very cruel, nasty words than someone throwing a punch or hitting somebody with an object. And so we have to be very careful in terms of how we deal in this season. We need to win, given where the PLP is taking this country. However, it cannot be at all costs, because all costs includes some vicious things said and some horrible things that could be done. And so I just want to say to all of our supporters that we have to temper what we say and do. Doesn't mean that you can't have righteous outrage unexpressly, but what you do not want to do is fabricate things that are devastating to people's lives simply to win. Now, so Dwight, I will do my best to lead by example in that regard. I'm going to speak firm on some issues, animated on some issues, but I'm not going to be fabricating matters just to win. So I ain't gonna lie, as the chairman of the PLP, lie about, we intend to lay off droves of civil servants. But if you are a political operative and you're getting paid on the government's dime just to be on social media servicing somebody, yeah, you gone. But people who are executing their work, who are supporting a family, man, please. I was elected in a constituency with support from PLPs. So I don't denigrate PLPs. I have a problem with the culture of that organization. I don't have a problem with the people. And so at the end of the day, I could not have been re-elected in 2021. Had those who came with me in 2017 or came with our team stayed, many of them stayed. And so I value all Bahamians and our contribution, because no one organization has a monopoly on good ideas or love for the Bahamian people. And so again, let's bring the temperature down.
And when will the final candidates be named? Now we have the boundaries. We know
our goal. We have 13 candidates left to be named. The bulk of them by the end of the month. The public will know the majority of those.
Okay. Hi, Michael Pintar, thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me. And I just want to say, if Mom is listening, love you, Mom. And of course, to the residents of Marco City, love you.
All right. We're going to take a break. Be back with our final few minutes. This is Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9.
West End move. She got a West End groove. She got a West End move. Got a West End groove. She say, come here, let me show you how we does go. Cause when you come to West End, you might meet old Joe. Now here is a story about this man, so you would better understand. You see, up in the Bight, that's where them people are so nice. There once was a boy, he never had many toys, but oh, he could dance, oh, he could prance. Get him in a circle, watch that old boy dance, he got a West End move.
At CFAL, we understand that a secure future is the greatest gift you can give your employees. That's why our tailor-made group pension solutions are designed to fit the needs of both large and small companies. With CFAL, you can provide the retirement you and your employees deserve, ensuring peace of mind and financial stability for years to come. Join the many businesses that have already entrusted CFAL to create the right pension plan for their employees, and let us help you build a brighter future for your team. Visit us at cfal.com to get started on building wealth so you can live well. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
For fast, reliable, and impactful printing services, look no further. Let Printmasters bring your masterpiece to life. We stand by our quality products that is second to none. Our affordable pricing and friendly, efficient staff makes Printmasters the ultimate choice for all your printing needs. We can deliver any type of printing services, from banners to booklets to business cards. You name it, we can print it.
Let Printmasters bring your masterpiece to life.
Located in the Nassau Guardian Building, telephone 302-2361.
Step inside the John Baptiste Jazz Club at Bahamar, where the rhythm of the islands of the Bahamas meets the soul of New Orleans. Every night, the lights dim, the music swells, and the air fills with that unmistakable energy. The kind that makes you close your eyes and just feel. Savor signature cocktails, curated small plates, and live performances with world-class musicians, all in an intimate, artfully designed space where every seat has a story. Whether it's a romantic night out or a spontaneous evening with friends, this is where you want to be. The John Baptiste Jazz Club, only at Bahamar. Reserve your table now at bahamar.com/jazz club or through the Bahamar app, because every evening plays its own tune.
Struggling to find your financial rhythm? Make that move to Fidelity and let us help you orchestrate your financial goals into perfect harmony with free financial coaching sessions. Make that move today. Call 356-7764.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
Bahamian voters, listen up. The
Parliamentary Registration Department is running voter verification right now. It helps keep the voters' register accurate and secure so every eligible Bahamian can cast their vote confidently. This is your chance to make sure your information is correct and up to date. Bring your passport and voter's card to your nearest verification center and make sure your voice counts this election. One Bahamas, one vote, verified.
Planning for retirement can be overwhelming, but with CFAL, it doesn't have to be. We offer tailor-made individual, group, and pension solutions that take the guesswork out of retirement planning. Whether it's for you or your company, don't leave your future to chance and let the trusted hands of CFAL's experts guide you toward peace of mind and financial stability. Low upfront costs and affordable monthly payments make it easy for you to build wealth so you can live well. Visit us at cfal.com to start on your path toward financial freedom. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.
It is time for your morning business report brought to you by CFAL. Opposition Deputy Leader Shannon Cartwright is calling for the government to disclose how much of the dedicated levies put in place by government have netted for the Tourism Development Fund so far. Shannon Cartwright saying in a statement released yesterday that the levies have been collected and are supposed to be earmarked for the fund, but he contends that there has been no public accounting so far. He's lamenting that the tourism environmental levy has been in place and earmarked for the fund since 2024. Jack's Bay Resort has reached over $58.8 million in sales since April 2023, according to the resort's chief executive officer, Tommy Turnquest, during the Bahamas Business Outlook last week. Turnquest added that the Family Islands are experiencing a new wave of smart strategic investment, and the resort eyes expansion in South Eleuthera. And the country's digital landing card will finally be available this year after testing late last year, according to Ministry of Tourism, Investments and Aviation Director General Atia Duncombe, who says the ministry is eyeing the second quarter of the year for the release of the landing card, which is also an immigration card. She says that the proper name for the card is the Unified Digital Landing Card. In early 2024, the government made changes to the country's immigration legislation to accommodate use of the digital card. In your Market Watch recapping trading on the BISX, from Friday, market movers APD Limited moving 400 shares, closing at $52 unchanged. Commonwealth Brewery moving 3,000, down 14 cents to 10.45. Commonwealth Bank moving 6,000, up 8 cents to 4.50. Consolidated Water up 3 cents, closing at 7.54. And Emir Incorporated up 7 cents, closing at $12. The BISX All Share Index closing at 3,151.12, up 0.04. That's your Market Watch, and that is your morning business report brought to you by CFAL, growing wealth for future generations. And tune into CFAL Talks tonight at 6:30 p.m. right here on Guardian Radio 96.9. And our final couple minutes here, we are still giving away NIB calendars for 2026. So all you have to do is be the first person to answer this trivia question correctly, and you could win. You could win this beautiful calendar here. So be the first to call in today. We did a couple of text ones, but you can't. No. But someone else can. Call 323-6232 or 325-4316. Here's the question. This is pretty easy. For IRB pensioners and persons receiving long-term benefits, How many times a year do you need to verify to continue receiving those benefits? How many times a year do you need to verify to continue to receive those benefits? Phone lines are lit up.
I was waiting on this.
Let's hear it. Caller, do you have an answer for the trivia question?
Yes, this is twice a year.
Yeah, it is twice a year. And I'll give you another calendar if you can tell me when twice a year.
You on your birthday,
Mm-hmm.
on your anniversary.
So close, so close, so close. I'm gonna give you one. I'm gonna give you one calendar. So just leave your name and number with the producer, and you can pick up your calendar. Yeah. All right. Congratulations. Let's see if that other caller can tell me specifically when, and they might get a calendar too. Let's see. Caller, do you know the answer?
It's on your birthday and 6 months afterwards.
There you go. So it's birth month and 6 months after. So you too will get one. So we got two winners today. We'll leave it for you. Hold on the line. Give the producer your name and number, and you'll be able to pick up your calendar. All right. So there you go. People know their NIB stuff. Hey, beautiful.
That's good.
Beautiful. All right. So everybody hold on the line. We'll get your calendars. You can come pick them up today. DeAndre Cartwright, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dwight Strachan.
For being here this morning. I'll see you next week.
Yes.
And I'll be back tomorrow morning with more Morning Blend and Morning Blend Business right here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Everybody have a wonderful, wonderful day. Stay tuned for On the Clock with Aaron Green coming up next.